Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk Travel to Me Tuesday. We are back. And as you guys know, this has been a long overdue for me to come back, right? I've been super busy with being a mom and doing AAU basketball and all the things, but I kept on telling y'all, I'm coming back, I'm coming back, I'm coming back. And finally, in October of 2025, I'm back. And tonight is going to be super, super special because I have my best friend who is the guest speaker for this month. And as some of you know, maybe all of you know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is known as Pinktober. I've seen Rocktober. I mean, it is such a cool month, but it's also a very educational and very important month because, as you know, so many women are affected by breast cancer. And I wanted to actually bring in someone who has went through this journey, and we're going to have a very good dialogue tonight. So at the very end, stay because she will answer some of your questions. And then also, too, as promised, I have a resource guide that she has provided to me with resources that may be of help for you or a family member, a coworker, or a friend who may have, is currently going through this, or, just in case if something happens and, you have a resource guide. Okay. So what I want you to do is once you come in, please let me know where you are watching from. I'm going to go to my Facebook page and I'm going to share it to my group. And what I want you to do too, is I want you to share it to your page too, right? Because I want this message to reach as many women as possible, because I know once you face something so traumatic, sometimes you don't know the resources that's available out there. And sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So I'm sharing it to the Blue Squad Travel Group. And I'm also going to share it to my personal page. Give me just a second. And then once you join me, let me know where you're watching from so that I can shout out your city, shout out your state. I don't know. Maybe we have somebody internationally. You never know these days, right? Okay, and I'm actually live, also streaming from my Facebook page, from my personal page too. So that's good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it over to Miss Chantrell Wright, and I want you to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are and where you are currently at right now, and then we'll go over the next set of questions that I have for you.
Hey guys, I am Chantrell Wright. I am currently in Hampton, Georgia. That is in Clayton County, one of the metro counties of Atlanta. So I am outside of Atlanta. And I'm just at home right now, chilling, enjoying the day. And I am a breast cancer survivor.
Awesome. So give me a little, I see you got your little nice little headpiece on. Okay. I see you have your what is that called? Your
sash.
Yeah, your sash. Mm-hmm. So tell me, was this custom made, your headpiece?
It wasn't custom made for me personally, but it was custom made for breast cancer survivors. So there's a company called the Booby Queens, and this is my booby crown. So the lady that founded the company is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And this is something for her to embrace her self-image and her comfort and be who she was. She said it actually started as a funny thing. They used to have parties at her house, like her girls would stay over, and she had such big boobs that her girlfriends would put their bras on their head and just dance around in them and, make fun of her about, hey, you got big boobs, look at it. And so she made it a thing. It's funny, but it's also embracing her. And so for every woman with a self-image and these boobs that try to take them out, she wants it to be a sense of empowerment. So this is my booby crown.
Nice. Okay. And then your sash, where did you
go? So my sash says fighter. It's one of the first sashes that I did receive from a bundle of gifts that I got from friends. And in that sense, I was a fighter. I was fighting for my life. I was fighting for my health. I was fighting for every other woman that may not know about, breast cancer and so forth. So I look at it, I hang it on my mirror in my room to remind me that what I've been through, what I've gone through, and what I continue to go through. Because even though I am in remission, I still have to fight for, it not coming back and just being happy in myself again. So yeah, it's a reminder of where I've been.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So as y'all can see, I also have my pink on tonight. Actually, this little keychain was a keychain that I actually got when I was with Chantrell last year. So me and my daughter attended the breast cancer walk with her in Clayton County, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that was pretty fun. And they were giving out, like different little trinkets and everything to symbolize, the fight against cancer. So I still have this. The cup I still use to this day as well. I like it because once you fill it up with water, it changes kind of like different colors. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So I want to go ahead and start. And this is being recorded. So if you happen to catch this on replay, hashtag replay so that I know you caught it. Make sure you share this. I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Zandra Sexton Holmes. I am the owner and CEO of Explore Blue Travel, which is a boutique travel company. We have a mission to help women just embrace travel. We know sometimes it can be challenging trying to travel by yourself or trying to gather up your girls to travel with you. So what we decided to do was we decided to be a pioneer and actually help you get to your destinations quicker, because our motto is, baby, if it's one or two people going, we're going to go. Okay. We're not going to wait on everybody to be ready to have their passport to travel. We want you to know that you have options when you travel, and you can just join one of our group trips, or we can plan one for you. Depends on, the type of people that you travel with. So with that being said, we've been in business since 2021. So we celebrate our 4-year anniversary here in May, Cinco de Mayo. And it's just been a joy to plan travel for the group as well as for clients. So on the screen is a running banner. If you're not on our email list, make sure you join our email list. This is being streamed in 2 locations. So the Facebook business page and on YouTube. If you are not following us on YouTube, go follow us right now. I see that we have Miss Gwen from Big City Pineview. She has joined us. So thank you, Gwen. And as you come in, just, say hey so that I can check in and we can answer your questions. But this is going to be a night full of questions. So I want to get started because I do not want to hold you up. And listen, y'all, I'm prepared. I got a timer because y'all know me. I can talk, baby. I'll be on here 2-3 hours. And Teresa don't want to be on here 2-3 hours with me talking tonight. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that I keep myself to a schedule. Okay. Because Clyde is my mama and I can run my mouth. So I'm going to turn this on right now. So this is going to gauge me. Okay. So are you ready, Miss Wright?
I'm ready.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So what made you say yes to sharing your story with us tonight?
Oh, that's simple. Awareness and advocacy. So, like I said, prior to being diagnosed with breast cancer, I had heard about it. I knew very minimal. And a lot of women don't know about breast cancer. They just think, oh, breast cancer is just one thing. Breast cancer is only concerned about women over 40. But it's not. There's so many myth busters out there. There's so much information that our community needs to know. Black and brown people, specifically, because we don't get the health care that we need. And so I said, I want to be a voice. I want to be a voice for people who look like me so that they are aware and can take precautions if they need to. And then if not, if they're already at the stage where they're diagnosed, the help that they need to get, I can point them in the right direction for some of them. And yeah, I just wanted to be that voice. I just wanted to let my story be known in case somebody's going through what I'm going through. And I just wanted to get it out there.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for, number one, accepting the invitation. I know when people come to speak about their experience, that is like a huge weight, right? Because, like you stated earlier, you are still in remission, right? So I know that you go back to get checked, like on a, some type of basis, and you'll probably share that with us tonight. So thank you for taking up the charge and being an advocate and sharing your story, because your story can help just one woman, right? Or many women.
Right.
And with me checking in on people are sharing things that I had, I was even unaware of, that they're facing what you went through, or they know somebody close to them, either a mother or a sister that is experiencing this. So thank you so much for being our guest tonight.
Of course.
Okay. When you think self-care isn't selfish, what does that mean to you now?
Oh, it definitely means taking care of myself, health, being the best person that I can be. Because before it was just like, I want to do this, but nah, not really. I don't really need it. But you do. Sometimes you need that mental health break from work. Sometimes you need that massage to put your body at ease. Sometimes you need that quiet time to help you get back to who you are. And the saying that people say is, I can't pour into others if I got an empty cup. That is so true. If you're feeling down and weak and not taking care of yourself, how are you going to help other people? So, yeah.
Right.
So now I don't feel selfish at all when I need a self-care day, if I need a timeout, if I need a massage, if I need a solo trip, I'm going to take it. I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
So, okay. So has that always been your outlook about
No.
self-care? So when did that become like a turning point for you when you had to realize, like, listen, I need to start really, really focusing on this more?
In the midst of my treatment. It wasn't until like the middle of my treatment where I realized, hey, Trees, you got to start taking care of yourself, because I was still trying to work. I was still trying to do all the things, even being sick. I was still trying to get this test done, get this stuff at work, do this and that, be there for such and such. There was a period of time where people didn't even know what I was going through. I was still baking cakes for people, showing up at surprise parties for people, and they didn't even know I was going through this battle. That's how dedicated I was to other people's happiness.
Right. And one thing that I share to some people on my personal page is one thing that I've always known about you, and audience, I've been knowing her since elementary school. But one thing that I've always known about you was you've always been a very big giver and supporter. So like I don't know how long, you have always done community service. Yes. You have always just poured back into the community. So tell us a little bit about, like, what was your reason? Like, what was your why for always giving back and being a community supporter to your local communities that you live in right now today?
They say, people have different love languages. That was a love language for me. I always felt like giving back was a part of me, a part of who I was. It wasn't because I felt obligated to do it. I knew people needed help, and I felt good when I helped people. I didn't need people to ask me, hey, can you do it? No, if I saw something that needed to be done and I could do it, I always wanted to do it. That's just who I was. That's just how I grew up. And I always loved it since youth. I would join the clubs that would help with community outreach. I would visit the nursing homes. I would do all kind of stuff like that because I just loved it. I'm a people person. Number one, I'm an extrovert. So being around people makes me happy. And then helping others definitely makes me happy. So.
Yes. Okay, so take us back. When did you notice something and what happened next? Like, when did you notice that, like, you know what, something is off? Mm-hmm. And then once you noticed that, what was your next steps? Like what did you do?
You know what? My body tried to tell me a while ago that something wasn't right, but I didn't think it was cancer. I just thought, hey, something might be going on, but it's not serious. So I'd say a year or so prior to my diagnosis, I would have these shooting pains in my right breast. I'd always mention it to my husband, KJ. I'd be like, oh, and he'll look at me and I'd be like doing this with my chest. He'd be like, what's wrong with you? I'd be like, oh no, I just got this shooting pain in my chest. But again, I didn't think anything of it. I definitely didn't think breast cancer. So it wouldn't happen every day or every month. It'd be sparingly, say once every 6 months, maybe. So I didn't think that was frequent enough for it to be an issue. Fast forward another year, I started experiencing hair loss, and it was right in the crown of my head. And so I'm thinking, oh, I'm getting older. It's just hair loss. That's probably what it is. But to be safe, I went to a dermatologist. I said, hey, I feel like I'm balding in the middle of my head, Of course, she did her test and said, well, everything looks normal. I don't see anything extreme. She said, but hair loss could be due to age or a prolonged illness. And so in my mind, when she said that, I was like, oh, I did have COVID twice. And one time I had COVID, it lasted longer than normal, like that anybody else said they had it. So I was like, okay, it was probably COVID. So she's like,
Right.
take Rogaine, take this medicine, yada, yada, yada. It'll start to get better. But it never did. It still stayed thin in the middle. And then fast forward, I'm laying in the bed, I'm getting these shooting pains again, and I just do my self breast exam. Then I feel these 2 lumps, and I'm like, okay, wow, that feels different. And there were two distinct lumps, and I was like, that's not normal. So I was like, KJ, call my husband and feel this. He like, what am I feeling? He a man, girl. They act crazy. Like, what am I feeling for? Sorry, you feeling for a lump. Something that don't feel normal. I'm like, do you feel it? Am I not crazy? He like, yeah, I feel it. I'm like, should I schedule a doctor's appointment? He like, yeah, I mean, just to be safe. So I knew I had a physical exam coming up, which you get yearly, but I'm like, no, I don't want to wait for that because that's all the way at the end of the month. Maybe just schedule something now. So I scheduled an appointment.
Now, what month was this when all this was going on?
This was in February, and they couldn't get me in the appointment until March, because that's how they do, honey. It was in February, so the appointment was the beginning of March. And prior to my appointment, I called my sister because I remember my older sister. So I remember her saying something about feeling a lump under her arm or near her breast and saying it was like cystic fibroid or something like that. So when she said that, I was like, oh, in my mind, I'm thinking a little relief. Maybe that's what it is.
Relief, right. It's not cancer, right?
Yeah. And she was like, well, somebody told me that if it's painful, it's not cancer. So I was like, oh, mine is painful. So it's definitely not cancer, So I felt relieved. I was like, oh, okay. I feel good. And she was like, why you asked? I was just wondering. So I didn't tell her immediately, what was going on. I just said, I felt like I had a lump. I'm just going to get it checked out. She's like, oh yeah, I had, cystic, blah, 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 cystic. I said, okay. So I get to the doctor and, this is my primary care doctor. So no cancer related doctors. This is just my primary care. I tell her, hey, I feel these lumps, they're painful. Like, can you check it out? And she's like, I kind of feel them, but she was like, well, you have big boobs, so it could be fatty tissue. Do they come after your menstrual cycle? I'm like, no, they're just there. Like it wasn't after a menstrual cycle, which can cause like lumpy boobs or whatever. And tenderness. I'm like, no, this is something different. This is something new. I've never felt these before. So, and she was Black. So she, before when I asked for mammograms years before, nobody would ever want to give me a mammogram. I didn't feel anything like a lump. But I knew people in my family had breast cancer. But because it wasn't immediate, like a sister or mom, they don't consider that a family history, which is very weird to me. So anybody under 40, they don't try to give you any mammograms. So yeah, she was like, well, if it's really hurting and you insist, I'll put you down for a mammogram. So I'm like, yes, I insist. Like, I'm not leaving here without scheduling a mammogram this time.
Right.
And so she did. And so I went back for the mammogram and they said, well, yeah, we do see something. But, to be certain, you have to have a biopsy. So I'm like, okay, what is that? And they're like, basically, we go in and pull a sample from the tumor or whatever the, mark is. We mark it, just in case it is cancer, we'll know where it is. So they marked them. Oh, God, that biopsy was painful. I left my boob and underneath my arm just black and blue and all kind of colors for like 2-3 weeks. But yeah, so I get that phone call. It had to be like 4 days later. It was not long at all. So I'm thinking,
so this is like a short time period, right?
It's a very short time period. It literally was like 4 days. So I'm thinking, okay, they're calling on the phone. So it has to be good news, right? Because they're not going to give me bad news over the phone, right?
You would think that.
Yes. And that's exactly what I thought. She's like, yeah, I'm the nurse calling from. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. She's like, I regret to inform you that it is cancer. And I froze like in time. I was literally like this because I was working from home and I was sitting in front of my computer and I froze. If the camera could have snapped a photo of me just looking, I was literally staring into nothingness because I didn't know how to process it.
Right.
I hear her saying what she said, but it was just a shock to me. And she's like, yeah, we got to get you in immediately to come in and talk about, treatment, yada, 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 and whatever. And I just felt like that was just the end of my world. I didn't know what else to do. I immediately called my boss and said, hey, something happened. It's an emergency. I got to get off work.
I need to get off work. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, once you get news like that and you working, can you really Like, can you
Yeah.
really function
I
and
could
actually
not.
complete the job?
Yeah.
No. It's
I
like,
knew. Yeah.
hold on. Like, somebody just told me that I was diagnosed with the C word
Right.
and I need to leave. So
Right.
that was March of 2023.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you call your boss, you tell your boss,
Yeah.
like, hey, I need to leave. And then
Yeah.
after that, what happened?
After that, I literally sat at the computer just in tears, just crying. Like I didn't know what else to do. And then of course KJ, my husband, came in and he see me bawling my eyes out. And he's like, baby, what is it? Like what's going on? Like what? And then I break the news to him and he, he tries to hold it together, but he's in disarray too. It's like he's trying to be there for me, but he's trying to be strong as well. So
Right.
it was just a
Exactly.
mess. And he's
Exactly.
trying to be encouraging and saying, you don't know nothing. Like it could be, treatment is this and that. They have cures and don't worry. You thinking the negative, and I had went down a dark hole. Like I'm gonna die. I'm thinking I'm gonna walk out the door. I'm just gonna drop dead tomorrow. That was my thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he had to kind of reel me back in, like calm down until we get all the information. Don't go off the deep end. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's go to your next question. Now, something that was very interesting, and just to show y'all what type of person she is, and this is my best friend, by the way. You showed up for my birthday, which was in Jamaica. We were in the grill while carrying this privately. Like, what helped you keep going that week? Because normally when you are diagnosed with something like cancer, I know probably in your head, you was probably thinking like, oh my goodness, should I travel? Should I cancel the trip? Like, what do I need to do? Like, what were you thinking? Because at this point, you had already paid, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You knew you was going and everything. So like, what was that process? What did that look like?
Yeah, at this point I had met with my oncologist who they assigned to me. So that's a cancer doctor. And she was telling me, what to expect, what would happen and so forth. And I was like, so how soon is all this happening? Like, what are my first steps? And they're like, well, you need to talk with a breast cancer surgeon. So they'll tell you whether you need to have surgery or treatment first and all that. But of course, we have to schedule the appointments. And they did schedule the appointment, but it was like further out in the month. And so I was like, well, I have a trip coming up in like 2 weeks. Well, actually it was a week and a half. And I said, it's already paid for, it's important to me. But is it possible for me to go? Like, I don't know. Like, I know I have cancer, but what does that mean to me? And she said, asking me where I was going, I guess making sure it wasn't like a third world country or something. They want me to get stuck over there and get some malaria or something. So I told her where it was, and she was like, oh, honey, go. She said, go, enjoy your time, because what you have is not going to change within the next 2 weeks. She said, so live your life, have a good time, but, protect yourself, wear a mask if you need to, take precautions, but you'll be fine. She said, enjoy yourself. And after she said that, it was a little relief to me, because I was like, okay, I can do one last thing. I can travel, which I love. I can be with my best friend who I love. I can be with my husband who I love. So I'm like, I can enjoy this one last thing before my life changes, basically, because I knew I had a long road ahead of me. And so I wanted some feel of normalcy before I took that journey.
Right.
It was just the best thing for me. So I'm like, I was asking KJ, like, I don't want to ruin Zonda's birthday. I don't think I'm going to tell her on this trip. I just want to go and have fun, as long as my health remains the same. I just want to enjoy this. So don't mention anything. Don't say anything, And so I just wanted to live that last free moment without any care, any worries.
Right.
Yeah.
And she did just that. Like, literally, like, I would have, after the trip, when she actually told me what was going on, I would have never suspected it, because she was just like, she showed up being her normal self. And that's one good thing about my best friend. Like I said, she is just naturally a giver and very supportive. And I didn't even know. And I was like, oh my goodness, she had this going on. And I was just oblivious. Like, I had no idea what was going on. Okay. So what moment during treatment changed how you view time, friendships, or joy?
Let me see. I wrote notes. Oh, so there were two moments, two significant moments that I can point out. One moment was when I announced to the world. So, of course, when I got the news, only a select few people knew. Of course, my parents, my cousin Renetta, my husband, of course, and my in-law. So I didn't tell the world because I didn't want the pity. I didn't want I just wasn't in a place where I wanted to share with everybody.
Right.
So when I finally announced it to the world, it was in October, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I posted the picture and saying, hey, this is what I'm going through. But in that moment, I felt like some people that needed to reach out to me saying, hey, are you okay? Did not. And then during my journey, some people that I thought, hey, would never do anything for me, they did. So people that I thought would show up for me, ghosts. And people that I never would have expected to show up for me, they did. And so that just showed me that whoever's going to be there for you are going to be there for you. And the people who were just in your life for a season, they're gone. So it was fine with me because at that moment, I knew who my friends were, I knew who my family were, and I knew who I could count on.
Yes, yes. And let me tell you, her coworkers were the best. I remember when you were going through your treatment, like they took turns and I would call her and I'd be like, girl, Trish, what you eating today? And she'd be like, oh, so-and-so done cook this. And then so-and-so. And it was like all different types of dishes and cuisine. And it was like, and me, I stay in Texas. So, I really felt helpless, right? I'm like, goodness, my best friend has cancer. I'm way in Texas. She way in Georgia. Like, oh my goodness, right? That was one time where I wish I was like really closer to home. But you had people, like you said, that stepped up, who showed up for you, assist you with, taking you to appointments, checking on you at the house, like all of that. And like in response, I know you felt like, oh my goodness, like I can't believe this is happening.
So the second pivotal moment was what made me view time in a different aspect. So after being diagnosed that same year it was actually Labor Day, I had like this weird infection in my finger and it had swelled my finger up like the size of a balloon.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. I think it was because it had like when you're on chemo, it causes your nails to be very brittle and some of them almost falling off. So this one was very loose. And so I guess it had gotten water that was trapped underneath it. So it caused an infection and it blew my finger up like a balloon, but I didn't do anything about it. So the infection had set in. But that night, that Labor Day night, I had got a really bad headache. And I told my husband, hey, can you take my temperature? And he took my temperature and it was over 100 degrees. I didn't feel like I was like extremely hot. I did feel like lethargic and I felt bad, but I didn't feel like I had 100-degree temperature,
Right.
So of course, when you're a cancer patient, you have to call your oncologist and tell them if anything changes. So I called and they were like, yeah, you need to get to your nearest ER. And unfortunately, that was the one that was in Decatur because it was Emory. It was part of my plan and they treat cancer patients. So I had to go there. And when I tell you that was the worst emergency room experience I ever had. I swear we sat in that ER for hours upon hours.
Just in the waiting room?
Yes, just in the waiting room, which is crazy because, again, I'm a cancer patient.
Right, and you've been surrounded by all those people. Wow.
Well, yeah, so it was bad. When they finally did call me back, they gave me morphine and put it in a little drip and I drifted off a little bit. My husband was like, girl, yeah, you was knocked out. And to my next thing I know, 30 minutes later, you was up like crazy in pain. He was like, I ain't never seen nobody morphine wear off like that. I'm like, exactly. That's how much pain I was in. Morphine had done wore off like that. I was in pain. It was crazy. But ended up being hospitalized because I had neutropenic fever, which is what happens to cancer patients when they get an infection. Basically, my white blood cells were so low that I didn't have the capacity to fight off an infection. And so it was very bad. I was in the hospital for over a week. I had 2 blood transfusions. My heart rate was in disarray. They couldn't figure out how to lower my heart rate. It was just the most painful week I had ever experienced. Like I was sick of seeing hospital beds and hospital food and I couldn't even have flowers. That's how bad it was. I couldn't have like live flowers because it could like bacteria on the plants could cause another outbreak. And I was like, okay, I've never heard of that. Because my sister Brittany came to the hospital visit and she was trying to bring in flowers. They were like, no, like basically had a panic attack, like don't bring those in. She can't have it. It was bad, but my mama, Lord bless her soul, she stayed by my side every step of the way. I had visitors, my aunt, my dad, my sisters, everybody, came, and prayer warriors. Just they was praying. But in that moment, I thought I was gonna die. I mean,
Right.
the prayer warriors were there. I was praising Jesus and thanking him, but in my mind, in the back of my mind, I said, I'm not gonna make it out of this room. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna see another birthday. And that's what I thought. So when I made it out of that hospital, I said, you know what? I'm living life to the fullest. If I get my health back, I'm not taking anything for granted. I'm living every day like it's my last.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And so after that hospital visit, you like how many rounds of chemo had you did by then? Because you was done.
Oh,
Were you
wow.
done with your chemo treatment?
No. So my chemo started in April, the end of April, and I was set to finish the next April. So it's basically a year, but it was in weeks, like 3 weeks, sometimes 1 week. I want to say it was 24 rounds, I think. I think it was supposed to be 24 rounds. But I didn't finish my last round because they noticed that the tumors had doubled in size when I went back for my PET scan. So, you know how your body becomes immune to something? You've taken something for so long it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Basically, how the cancer had tricked the chemo. It's like, you know what? You're not working for me anymore. So the tumors had doubled in size, and they said, you know what? We got to have to rush you to surgery. So I didn't get to ring the bell. I didn't get to do any of those things that cancer patients do, after chemo, because they had to get me into surgery immediately.
Oh my goodness. Okay. If you could talk to yourself on day one of this journey, what would you say?
Ooh, a lot. I would definitely tell myself to ask questions if you're unsure about anything, because I feel like I didn't ask enough questions. I just took the doctor's word as what it was. Except for in one instance, I did ask for a second opinion, in which I went to Emory to get a second opinion. And that was about my treatment plan, because my cancer was triple negative, which is a receptor type of cancer, meaning they really didn't have a specific treatment plan for us, because it's just it's rare, one of the rare ones. They didn't have anything that specifically treats it, so they put you on the best treatment plan that they have. And so I just didn't ask enough questions, and especially when it comes to like my age. I was 38, so of course that's past the age that you have healthy children compared to doctors. So I didn't they didn't tell me, number one, and I didn't ask about freezing eggs and so forth. So I feel like I lost that opportunity to be a mother, because they didn't inform me that was something that I needed to do. So I definitely ask questions when I'm unsure about something. I'll tell myself that, and then get a clear understanding of what needs to happen versus what has to happen. Meaning, I know I have to have chemo, but what do I need to do now before chemo? Again, like the egg freezing and so forth. Some women that I talked to stated that the doctors suggested they put their ovaries in a sleep state, meaning it won't affect my ovaries when I go on chemo. So
Right.
they didn't necessarily have to freeze eggs, but they put their ovaries in a sleep mode so they weren't affected. But yeah, definitely ask questions when I'm unsure about something. I would tell myself that.
Okay. So you mentioned something that was very interesting. So like once they give you the like they tell you like what's going on, are they giving you like any type of pamphlets or any type of guides to tell you like what to expect, what are
Yeah.
next steps? So like any of the information that you're sharing tonight, none of that
Mhm.
was in that in those brochures telling you like, hey, this is some things that you need to think about, or these are some things you need to be aware of.
Yes and no. So a lot of the brochures tell you what to expect, what to do. But because cancer was initially targeted for women over 40, they assume that you've had kids, you've done all this other stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. But now that it's becoming more aggressive and happening in women that are getting younger and younger and younger, teenagers, 20s, 30s, that information needs to be more prevalent. There are actually organizations up there now that specialize in helping women freeze their eggs for free who are battling cancer.
oh, so that's good. So y'all, that right there is good to know because a lot of times,
Yes.
especially in these days and times, so back in the day, women had children way younger, right? but a lot of women our age, they're actually living their life and they're waiting to
Right.
be a mother later in life. So if you have not
Right.
gave birth, you wouldn't know, like, oh my goodness, I need to think about this or anything.
Exactly.
So we've had some good questions come across. One question that came across was, do they typically give news like that over the phone? Like based off of the people you have encountered, because I know you are still active in groups and things like that.
Mhm.
Was your experience shared or the
Yeah.
same, or did it happen different from other people who you've been in communication with?
Nope. Most of the women that I talked to said they did receive that message over the phone. They remember the date and the time that they got that call, which is crazy to me. I never thought that news like that would be delivered over the phone. But yeah,
Right. I mean, because I mean the shock and
exactly.
like I would, oh wow, that's
Exactly.
very interesting that the doctors would give some news like that. So I wonder, and again, I know I'm in different communities and I have doctor friends and stuff. So if you happen to catch this, I would like your opinion or medical,
Right.
what I'm saying, opinion as to what's the reason why you would not share something like so intimate. Because like even
Right.
when you go for your woman checkup, right, that
Mhm.
you have to get done. Like it's certain news that they'll tell you, let's come inside and let's
Right.
have that conversation. So you would think that with being diagnosed with something, they would do the same
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
Okay. And Gwen has a question. She says, did you join any support groups?
You know what? I didn't join any support groups until after. So, in the midst of it, me doing treatments and so forth, I did not join any support groups because I felt like I wasn't ready to tell my story. I was scared. I was mad. I was all the things, but that probably could have helped me. Some of the questions I had, some of the support that, I mean, I had plenty of support from family and friends. So support wasn't an issue, but it probably could have helped as far as diagnosis and what to expect and what's next. It probably could have helped me, but I did not reach out to any groups until after the fact.
Okay. Um, what signs or changes should women pay attention to between routine screenings?
Oh, so many signs. You, like I said, I posted on my Facebook that most women or whoever that have heard of breast cancer think a lump, and that's all we've associated with breast cancer for years. But in actuality, there's 12 signs or symptoms of breast cancer. And I did share that on my Facebook page. If they want to Google an organization called Know Your Lemons, knowyourlemons.org, you can see the 12 signs and symptoms of breast cancer, a few including an inverted nipple, nipple discharge, orange peeling like substance on your skin and your breast area. So there are several change of the size, shape. All those are sign or could be signs of breast cancer.
Okay. Okay, so we're halfway, so I'm making good progress because I told y'all. Okay.
The key to that is the monthly self exams and then noticing any change from there. So if your boob was an A cup and now all of a sudden it's a C cup, that could be a sign of something. Could not be, but it could also be a sign that something's wrong.
Gotcha. Okay. So I put the organization and the email, the website information in the chat.
Okay.
So make sure y'all go and look at that.
Yes.
Now, if a doctor dismisses your concern or says wait, how can someone ask for a second opinion or another test with confidence?
You have to advocate for yourself. You have to be heard because we are easily dismissed. Black and brown people are easily dismissed when it comes to our health. And if we don't advocate for ourselves, nobody will listen. So if you know something's wrong and you feel something's wrong, if that doctor doesn't assist you, feel free to ask for a second opinion or go get a second opinion if they don't approve of you getting a second opinion under their care. Because I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm sorry, doctor, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but I would rather hear this from someone else to confirm that what you're saying is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's very good. What appointments or reminders belong on a woman's calendar every year?
So unfortunately, if you don't have a family history, I can't say mammograms, because unless you're having issues or feel pain or something, they will try to refuse to give you one. So I'd say women 40 and up, definitely don't skip your mammograms. Make sure you have them every year. 40 and up, you are allowed mammograms. So make sure you schedule that yearly. Under 40, if you have any family history or if you feel any changes or any pain, you insist that you have a mammogram, no matter what the age. I listened to a story yesterday of a young woman who was 17 when she was diagnosed with cancer. So cancer has no age, has no gender, because men can have it too. So yearly mammograms and then monthly self-exams. I know we laugh about it, like, ain't nobody checking no boobs. And I used to be like that until I felt them lumps. But no, you need to do in the shower, laying in the bed. You need to schedule that. Put in a monthly thing after your menstrual cycle goes off every month. Jot it down on your calendar. Okay, let me check my boobs,
Okay.
So make that a monthly thing to check. Yeah.
What did support look like on a hard day versus a good day?
Whew. Listen, support on a hard day was my husband or my mom just being there, just knowing that I needed the shoulder to cry on, just giving. Listen, my husband and my mama tag teamed me one night. I was having a hard day. Like, some of the chemo drugs I was on had my body so frail and aching, like pain that I couldn't get to, like inside pain that was like muscles and tension. So my husband massaging my legs, my mama massaging my shoulders. They just going to town, honey. I'm like, oh, and I'm just sitting there, like tears are just streaming from my face, because it's like I can't get relief. I've taken medicine, I've walked around and stretched, I've done what I could, but the pain just kept coming. So they're over there tag teaming, they massaging feet, they shoulders, arms. To me, that was a hard day. Now, support on a good day was friends calling saying, hey, can I come by and visit you? I just want to sit. Of course. My people at work, like Alexander said, with the meal plans, they done a whole calendar. Okay, this week Susie gonna do it. Okay, next week Johnny Q gonna do it. Because they knew I could not cook. They knew I could not stand up. But they was like, you know what? You got to eat. We got you. They had their weekly meal plans. Somebody would drop it off. Like, that was good support for me. I love people dropping off gift baskets, sending stuff that I needed. Like, I had a warm community, and I cannot thank them enough. Like, dear God.
Now, this one right here, because I know a lot of times when people get diagnosed with cancer, sometimes we try to be like, sometimes you have good intentions, but you may say the wrong thing. So what should friends or family avoid saying? And what words actually help?
Now, of course, this is going to be different for every patient. So I can't speak for everyone, but I have heard a general consensus when it comes to some of the things that people say. But for me, stuff like, it'll be all right, or you look good bald, or it could be worse, or everything happens for a reason. This is a test. Yeah, I know all these things, but I don't want to hear that right now because I'm going through some stuff. And the worst one, you might think it's the best one, but it's the worst one. Call me if you need anything. Girl, I got cancer. I'm over here on my deathbed. You know I need something. Be proactive. Say, hey, I know she can't cook. Make this meal schedule like my work people did. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
My pride would not let me just break down and ask people for stuff, even though I know I needed it. Like, I need you to read me. I need you to know, okay, she's sick. What would I do if I'm sick? What would I need if I'm sick? How can I help her? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was the most for me. But things like, I'm praying for you. Yes. And you're genuine. Please pray for me. I love to hear those words because I need all the prayers.
Right.
Like, yes, those type of things, those definitely resonated with me. Like, yes, pray for me. So yeah, that's just my take on it.
Okay. And then how did you protect your peace? Did you do any like journaling? Did you start seeing a therapist? Was it music for you? Was it prayer? Was it attending church? Like what did you do during this time?
So a lot of my besties, they said journaling helped them, but I've never been a writer. I never liked writing, and I still don't like writing. I got 1,000 journals that people done gave me that's still blank. That is not me. But prayer, I mean, that, that's the number one thing between the holy oil from my mama and my aunts and my pastor, from everybody, the oil, the prayer, the meditation, music. Definitely music got me through all those chemo sessions. So praise and worship music, solitude. Sometimes I just wanted to be by myself. Sometimes I just wanted to get that long cry out and say, Lord, why me? Even though I should not have, because Lord, why not you? You know what I'm saying? But you have those moments. I'm human. So yeah, sometimes my solidarity and the music, it was my peace. Yeah.
Okay. What was one small thing you did daily that kept you grounded?
The prayer, like I said, because if not, I was going down a rabbit hole saying, Lord, I ain't gonna make it, and Googling and looking on the internet about, survival rates and what if this happened and what if that happened. And I just had to block it out. I had to tune out certain stuff. I had to tune out getting on the internet. I had to tune out, listening to, oh, well, such and such died of this. So I had to tune that out. I had to focus my mind on prayer, on God, and what He can do. And that's what helped me get through every day.
So prayer. And listen, and I know we say this a lot, but prayer changes things. Prayer definitely changes things,
Listen,
right?
I'm a living witness to that. Walking testimony.
Right, absolutely. So let me ask you this. So you did the trip in Jamaica with me. Mm-hmm. After you did the trip in Jamaica with me, when was the next time you were able to actually travel again?
Now, as far as like traveling, getting on an airplane, I don't think I did that until the following year. Mm-hmm. Now, traveling as far as driving and so forth, I did visit my family for the holidays. So I went to Statesboro for that Thanksgiving. And then I want to say I went somewhere for Christmas. And of course, I had my mask on and was around people, but it still didn't help because after I came home, I got sick. Mm-hmm. So it was like I wanted to be there. I wanted to be around family, but I didn't realize my body is weak. I can't. Right. I didn't need to be around all those people. But again, I'm an extrovert. I love family, so I wanted to be around the people I love, especially if something detrimental were to happen. It's like I want to spend my last moments with the people that I love. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
Yeah, it would always come back to bite me in my butt because every time I'd be around a crowd of people, I would come home and I would be sick. And so when that happened, of course, I would be dehydrated. I would have to go back to the hospital. And normally it wasn't a long stay. It'd be a day stay. They'd keep in the hospital for maybe that morning until that evening, giving me, fluids and stuff and medicine. And then they'd send me home. But yeah, I always paid the price for taking my little excursions.
Right. Right. So for somebody who is dealing with, being recently diagnosed with cancer, did you do anything different when you traveled? So like, is there any tips or suggestions that you would give people that was like a big difference for you?
Oh yeah. I always, number one, I mean, that's travel regardless whether I was sick or not. I let someone know where I was. So if something were to happen, they know where I am and how to get to me. And that's Netta, my cousin. I always took my medicine with me as a precaution. I took my regular medicine that I needed to take and any other medicine that I thought I might need. I always took my mask. As far as the airplane, I would always choose a window seat. I did that regardless of being sick. But I also, in case somebody over here hacking and coughing, I can lean towards the window and try to avoid, any of that stuff. And I always chose closer up in the front of the airplane in case they needed to get to me quickly or I needed to get up and get to someone quickly saying, hey, something's wrong with me. And then I was always cautious about where I was going. So again, I'm not going to go to some country like India knowing I'm sick or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go somewhere where I know if I need to reach out to a doctor or a hospital that I can get to it quickly. Like right. I got my insurance card. I make sure I have that. I got all my information, my doctor's numbers, emergency contact numbers. I have all that on file in case I need to get to it while I'm gone.
Gotcha. And all those are good tips. And those are actually practical tips you need to like you
Right.
should take anyway, if even if
Mhm.
you don't have anything, right?
Right.
Because when you are in dire need, and let's say you can't
Girl.
breathe, you can't talk, it should be something you should be able to point or tell somebody like, hey, this is what's going
Literally.
on, this is who you need to contact. And I
Literally.
always tell people when they travel, always share your itinerary with somebody not traveling with you. Let people
Right.
know where you're going at, because just in case something happens, they need to know where to find you at. Like you don't got to put everything on the internet. I get that, right? But
Mhm.
somebody close to you needs to know, like, okay, she in so and so country, she's staying at so and so. You know what I'm saying? But if they don't know and you so private, it's like, well,
Right.
she said she was gone somewhere, but I don't know where she gone at.
Exactly. It's gonna be at least one person that know where I am and what I'm doing.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Gwen asks about travel insurance.
Yes. Now, Zandra, no, I am not a stickler for travel insurance. As a matter of fact, I never got it in the past. It might have been one time I got it, and then when I traveled with Z, I got it because that's part of her policy and procedure. But the old me, that's it. That was a waste of money, baby. I ain't giving nobody no extra money. But the sick me, yeah, let me get some double travel insurance. Because Lord knows I do not want to get over there, get sick, and something happen, and I can't get back home. Oh no.
Right. Now we
Oh
listen.
no.
Now we try to put a GoFundMe, like, please, let's help her
Right.
get back.
Right. I'm stuck. I can't get. No travel insurance, me, please.
So, what milestone did you choose to celebrate first, and why? After like you were
Oh,
kind of like
yeah.
clear.
Of course, that was my 40th. It was a milestone as far as years, as far as birthdays, and it was a milestone for me being in remission. So I had to do that. And of course, it was another big travel trip, like going out of the country. So I felt I needed that to get back to feeling like me, to celebrate life. Yeah, 40 was it. So we went to Barbados.
Yes, yeah. And she had me with the animals, honey. And y'all know I don't like the animals, okay? I mean, look, what was it? Ducks and then birds flying, baby. Listen,
Birds.
I went in the hospital, okay? Because if
Oh
anybody
my
know me,
goodness.
I'm real scared of animals and creatures, y'all. I'm a scary cat.
Lord Jesus. Yeah, so it was nice. I enjoyed my travel trip. Oh goodness.
Okay, and what barriers did you face as a woman of color, and how did you navigate them? And I think that's going to be our last question, and then we're going to ask our audience if they, well, before that, I'm gonna ask you to share some resources, which if anybody wants some resources, Treese has been very kind, so she has sent me some information that I'm going to share with the community, so it's going to be in the travel group page. But I wanted you to share what barriers did you face as a woman of color, and I know you've kind of shared it
Mm-hmm.
previously, so you don't have to kind of, but like, and
Yeah.
how did you navigate them? Like, what's like a last call or last message you want the people to be to be mindful of?
The big barrier is being heard. As a woman of color, being heard is one of the big barriers that a lot of people face. They have complications, they have issues, they have healthcare problems, but the healthcare system refuse to hear them. They say, "Oh, it'll be all right. Oh, go home and take a Tylenol. Drink some Robitussin." No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they shrug it off to, "Oh, you'll be fine." I read a story or listened to a story on Instagram about this lady that kept saying she was having issues, and the doctor was telling her, "Oh, your mammograms are fine," and the lady ended up having cancer. Her last 3 mammograms actually had cancer, and he told her she was fine.
Oh my goodness.
Unfortunately, she did end up passing away, but not before exposing that healthcare system and that doctor who had done that to at least 10 other melanated women prior to. So, yeah, getting heard by the healthcare system and letting them know our worries are serious, we matter, is our biggest barrier. But that's where you got to advocate for yourself, advocate for yourself, advocate for yourself.
Right. And I know sometimes we feel like these people are professionals,
Right.
they
And we
got,
don't
they went to medical school, they got medical degrees and all that. But listen, your health is very important, and you know your body better than the doctor do. Like,
Oof.
you know when something is off, right? So you have to be your number one advocate. You got to be your one to say, listen, I understand what you're saying, doc, but I know something is not right. If you are not strong enough, and if you are not loud enough, and if you are not bold enough to say that, then they could sweep something under the rug that could be very detrimental to your health. So if anything from this talk tonight, make sure you are your number one advocate. Even if the doctor's telling you like, oh, it'll be okay. No. I need you to hear me out. And I want to make sure that I am okay.
Right. Yeah.
And then if someone watching feels alone tonight, what can they do in the next 24 hours? That's my last question. Then I'm gonna open up to see if the audience have any questions.
Seek help. Don't be afraid to seek help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because as Gwen mentioned, there are support groups. Like I said, I didn't take that as my first option when I was diagnosed, because luckily I had family and friends who were there to support me. But people who may not have anybody, who may not know where to turn, there are support groups, there are resources, there are hotlines. Get help. And then if you're a God-fearing woman or man, pray. Ask God for guidance, ask God for understanding and assistance. So yeah, don't give up on life. Know that you are not cancer. You are you, and you are meant to be here in this life.
Oh, I like that. I like that. You are not your diagnosis, right? Because a lot of times people want to make you feel like, oh my goodness, like, oh, she got cancer. No, I'm bigger than cancer. Okay.
Exactly.
I still am a person. I still am a human being. I'm still unique. So yes, I like that.
I do have one more link for you to share with everybody, Zandra. This is a breast cancer risk calculator. So this is prior to being diagnosed with cancer. You've never been diagnosed or anything. This is a risk calculator to help you assess your risk of getting breast cancer. And that is so beneficial to anybody who may have a family history or anything like that. So I will provide you with that link.
Okay.
Just tell me however you want me to send it to you.
Okay, good. Yes, most definitely. Any resource you have is great. And then what I want to do is one myth you want to leave behind. If it was one myth you want to leave behind tonight that you want the audience to hear, what would that be?
Definitely not the 40, because I've already stressed that enough. You already know you don't have to be 40 to get cancer. So we gonna leave that one where it is. We already know that. No age. There's no age. But healthy. People that I hear, oh, you have to be unhealthy if you get cancer. Nah. No, cancer gets people in the gym. Cancer gets old people. Cancer gets young people. Cancer gets Black, Asian, white. It doesn't matter. So saying, oh, you're overweight, that's why you got cancer. Oh no, I've seen skinny people got cancer.
Right.
Sure, it does not matter. So don't think you can only get cancer if you're not eating right or you're overweight and so forth. That is a myth. Cancer can take anybody.
Okay, that's good. Because you have a lot of misconceptions and a lot of people circulating stuff, and it's not necessarily true.
Right.
Okay. So this is what I want y'all to do. The people who are here, if you catch this on replay or anything, the first thing I want you to do is I want to make sure that you are doing your monthly self-exams. Okay. Yes. That's key. But then also
men and women, because I met a breast cancer survivor yesterday. That was a man, 9-year in remission. And he had lump on his chest. That's how he first noticed it. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so what I want you to do is make sure you set a reminder to schedule a screening. Okay, so make sure you set a reminder to schedule a screening. So if you have not, I know 2025 is, we're in Q4, but if you have not had a mammogram, or if you have not visited your doctor lately, for your wellness exam or your woman's exam, like make sure y'all take that very seriously, because a lot of times, like Tree said, the signs are there and we just kind of overlook it and we be like, oh, it's not that bad. It's,
exactly.
And when you do that, thinking you're so strong, like you really are, disservicing your body. So make sure you actually pay attention to it and schedule your reminder today. Okay. And then also too, in celebration of Breast Cancer Month, just to let y'all know, anybody who books anything with me this month, 50% of my planning fee is going to go to Chantrell, because again,
Oh,
he was,
thank you.
when she was going, like, the I don't even know all the details, but like the financial, what I'm saying, going through that. I mean, yes, it might be FMLA and all that, but it's a lot of stuff that people go through that you are just unaware of, that you are oblivious to, right? Even though there are resources and things. So you can help in that matter. And then also too, if you want to help too, Treese, do you have like a Cash App or something like
I
that?
do. Yep.
What's your Cash App?
It's $ Chantrell Wright 812.
Chantrell Wright 812.
They'll
Okay.
see my business logo on there.
Okay. So I just dropped her Cash App as well. So if you want to donate in that matter, you can. But again, what I want y'all to do is just share this video with someone. Check on your people. Like, I just discovered something about two of my friends who was going through something. One of my girlfriends, her sister was recently diagnosed with cancer. And then another one of my friends, her mom was diagnosed with cancer. And then my daughter's basketball coach, assistant basketball coach, was diagnosed with cancer. Then I had another girlfriend, her mom was diagnosed. So it, like, you would not, unless you talk to people in conversation, you would not know that it's happening all around you. And a lot of people don't share their story. Like Treese, she told you, like, it took her a while before she was able to actually come and let the world know, like, hey, this is what I have, this is what I'm going through. Everybody don't share. So just make sure you check on your people and you reach out, and you can, be of service in so many different ways. But I want to thank you, Chantrell, for being our guest tonight. And thank you for being bold and courageous and sharing your story. Do you want to give any parting last remarks before we close this out?
Well, just like you said, just from me sharing my story, 4 people in my network of people came to me and said, hey, I was just diagnosed with cancer. Can you help with this? And that touched my heart, girl. I was like, oh my God, thank you for reaching out to me. Like, yes, I will tell you everything that I know, everything that I went through. And that just felt so good to me, that because I shared my story, I was able to help somebody else.
Right.
That really. So I just want to leave everyone with these statistics. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. 1 in 8. 1 in 8. 80 to 85% of those women diagnosed do not even have a family history. So the myth that, oh, you got to have a family history of cancer to get it. No. The majority of people diagnosed with breast cancer did not have a family history. And then if you do have a family history, there's a test called a BRCA gene mutation test. This is BRCA, BRCA. It's a gene mutation test that you can take. I do suggest that you have good health insurance before you take that test, because unfortunately, insurance company, if they find out you're taking that test and it does come that you have a gene mutation, they'll deny you coverage, because they're saying, hey, she has a likelihood to get cancer. I don't want her on my insurance policy. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. So, yes. So that test can let you know if you have a gene mutation which affects your family. And that lets you know whether you're prone to get, more likely to get cancer or not. And the final thing is prostate cancer is linked to breast cancer, which I just learned this year. Did not know that. Yes. So if you have a male in your family that has prostate cancer, it could link to breast cancer in a female family member. Yeah. Particularly, say, if you have a father that has breast cancer, he can offset that to his daughters to have breast cancer. So, yeah. So family history, get tested. Definitely. Everybody else, check your risk assessment, and I will provide you with that link, Z.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, thank you all who stayed until the very end. And again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Treese. She's very helpful. She will guide you in the right direction. If you have any questions for me, you can reach out to me as well. If you have any questions about the live tonight, I'm going to drop my email address for questions in here. And then again, make sure you share this, because I know this can help so many people.
Yeah.
And again, thank you for being our guest tonight. And we will be live again next week. I don't know if I'm gonna be live or not, but we'll see. Okay, just stay tuned. Okay. Other than that, thank you so much, Therese, and
Thank
y'all have a
you.
good night. Happy Tuesday.
Love y'all.